because we are now
All right.
live, gentlemen. Beyond the Pixel.
Yay.
It's finally, after 7 minutes of being late, we're finally live. We're here with another spicy topic, and I need to like move the camera to, there we go. It's more centered on me. But today, PUBG, Fortnite. We don't give a shit about H1Z1, but PUBG and Fortnite. Which one is better? Which one is actually worth playing? Which one's worth your time? That's what we're going to discuss. And more importantly, I'm honored to have this guy on here. He's part of InfoGamer, which I have a link to their website in the description. And just Jeremy, just introduce yourself. Just tell the people who you are.
I'm Jeremy, and as you heard, I'm a writer and admin for a website called InfoGamer, and I also do a few gaming videos for our YouTube channel.
Right,
He's got all the links down there.
So we got the links to the website. We got links to the YouTube channel. Their name is on the thumbnail. You can't miss it. If you do miss it, then you must be blind, which is why you're listening to the podcast, because you can only hear it. So, all right, gentlemen. I know we've all played Fortnite. We've all played PUBG. We've all had our issues. We've all had good things to talk about. I guess first we'll start with the big dog, PUBG. Let's discuss what we think PUBG actually like. Is it actually good? Let's just start with that. Is it actually good? Because I played H1Z1 first. When this thing whole started off, it was like H1Z1, and then PUBG literally just came out of nowhere and is now debatable the #1 game on Twitch. Like it ousted the #1 game, which was League of Legends. And you know, when I played it, I was like, why the heck are people playing this game? Like, it did not feel, when I first played it, I didn't have a good first experience. I thought this feels like a H1Z1 knockoff, but just does a couple things better. So what were you guys' first impression of PUBG? We'll start with our honored guest, Jeremy.
Well, one of the first things is it had like a lot of people were making videos about it, so right away I thought I had to get it. So I went ahead and got it, and it was lots of fun. I really enjoyed the game. It had like a lot of people were making first-person shooters more though, but I had lots of fun with it, and it's definitely a good game. That's it.
All right.
Just waiting for a long dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause.
There.
The unexpected answer. He liked it. What the hell?
More dramaticer.
All
Get this guy out of here. He liked it. Get him.
Get him out of here. This is not what I asked you. You're supposed to bash it. No. All right, Joe. Well, tell me what you thought about it when you first played it.
The question.
What was your first impressions when you first played it, Joe? Come on now, pay attention.
Battlegrounds. Yeah. I'm just making sure. I just want to clarify.
I said
You ever
PUBG.
seen that
Spelling third
Like-
cousin that shows up at family dinners that nobody really knows who invited him.
It's essentially.
But he makes it interesting. It's just all right. All right. So, my thoughts. Playerunknown BattleGrounds. I refunded it the first time. Fuck that game.
Shocker, Joe. You always
the more I
refund
play
stuff.
it, the more I bought it into the hype. Everyone's like, I don't buy games off of streams, so normally I just buy them and then I don't even really watch streams. But I bought it. I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And then you loot for 10 minutes, then you die, and you're like, this is a lot of fun. I'm getting motion sick looking at the floor and looking up. But then I refunded it. And then 2 weeks go by, one of my other friends was like, hey, Joe, we should play PlayerUnknown BattleGrounds. I was like, man, I refunded that garbage game. 2 weeks go by, he's like, we should play it. I was like, so I rebought it. Let it sit there for about 2 months, and now I play it once a week. It's all right. It's nothing special. I think it's played out. The gameplay is really slow for a game like for a gamer like myself, a person like myself to like.
I feel like it's overhyped.
It is vastly overhyped, but we'll get to why. We'll get to the differences between Fortnite and PUBG here in a second. But Dismount, what was your initial impressions of PUBG?
Everybody was like, bro, you need to get this game. You need to get this game. You need to get this game. So I finally was like, all right, fine. I bought it, and I've played it with Joe. Have I played the game with you? I think I have a couple times.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. But a couple of other buddies that I work with, I played it with them, and it was like, it's okay. Like, it's nothing special. It's something different, but it's not great different. And then I actually played it with some of my buddies from the army, and had fun playing with them because it was kind of more tactical. But I'd rather play a game like Ghost Recon and play tactical than PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, where it's, I don't know. I honestly, like, if I have nothing else to play, I'll play it. Other than that, I'm not like rushing home to get on Pubgs and play with my buddies.
Another thing is CS:GO, like Counter-Strike Global Offense. A lot of people have been talking about just like the smallest detail, like a train that goes by randomly. They would complain because it's so random. And then if you think about it, PlayerUnknown Battleground is like one of the most random games you can get, and just a lot of CS:GO fans switched over, and it's just kind of strange that from complaining about the smallest random detail in CS:GO to playing like one of the most random games you can play. It's just definitely attracted a lot of people. It like I think CS:GO was in pretty high up in the most played Steam games, and now it's PUBG.
Yeah, when I initially played it, I wasn't impressed. I didn't see why did everyone, was hardcore on this game. It didn't really appeal to me too much until I played a couple games with Dismount. I played a couple games with a buddy from work. I played with Joe, but he just let me to my death. So
Standard operating
the
procedure.
standard
when I'm
operating
IGL.
position. This is the standard gameplay, standard strategy. Just Joe leads you to your death. But
Everyone killed, I win the match.
pretty much, it's like Joe, we got him to one health. Go ahead and last shot him. But I didn't find anything special about this game, especially in comparison to H1Z1. The one big difference that I found was that PUBG made it super easy to get in cars. H1Z1, for some reason, having that survival aspect to their king of a kill, you had to get like spark plugs or whatever to get in the car. And to me, that was an unnecessary thing to have, especially in an early access game. You don't want to make it hard for the players to play the game. So, that was our initial impressions of PUBG. Now, our initial impression in Fortnite, I was a lot more impressed with Fortnite than I was with PUBG. It felt like a more different game, even though we knew it was a battle royale game. It felt different in comparison to PUBG. I feel like it improves on a lot of things that PUBG doesn't do well on, and it also has another layer of gameplay that makes it a lot more of an interesting game, and it feels more fast-paced than PUBG, which is what I like. I like a game that's more fast-paced. PUBG, I feel like I'm always sitting somewhere for like, if I didn't get, essentially PUBG felt like if you didn't get something good in your first landing, in the first couple buildings you went to, you pretty much were going to die unless you got lucky. And Fortnite, I feel like it's a little bit more fast-paced. I feel like there's a layer of gaming that makes it better. But Jeremy, what was your first impressions of Fortnite?
Yeah, well, what you said about it being fast-paced is definitely true. Like in PUBG, it'll take forever for like 50 people out of the 100 to die, and then in Fortnite, within like 5 minutes of everyone landing, there's like 25 people less. So it really goes much faster, and also there's a cool range of weapons that they don't have in PUBG. Like there's rocket launchers, grenade launchers, traps, and all that stuff, which is really cool. And building also is one of the biggest selling points for a battle royale, and I think that also adds a lot since you can like hide your base and make cool things. So I honestly enjoy battle royale more than I enjoy PUBG. Just faster and a bit more options, except there's no vehicles. That's the only thing I wish there were.
Is that long pause again? Are you sure you're done?
Sure.
Check in.
All right, Joe.
Usually Morpheus guides these conversations.
Joe, I always guide these conversations. So what was your initial thoughts?
Impression of Fortnite?
Yes, Fortnite, not PUBG.
I'm number
Fortnite.
one, so I'm better than every all those 99 other players. That's my impression. It's fun. I think what makes the battle royale games in a general sense addicting is you can drop out and drop in. Your game can last anywhere between like 20 minutes to 30 seconds if you survive. And I think they need to be quick in that aspect, and Fortnite's really good about that. They know what they're making. They know the pacing of the game that they want. They continually have weekly updates instead of monthly, and they're more fleshed out. They've actually improved the game. They do constant nerfs and buffs of guns like the burst fire. There's things that bug me about it, like the rarity items, I think is a bit broken because you can find the Scar, what is it, Epic, and two-shot a bunch of people. I mean, I've killed whole squads with that just because you come up behind them or even face-to-face. They just try and gun you down with a common AR and you just two-shot them. So I think that aspect about the game is very broken and needs to be re-looked at. The gun rarities kind of just need to go away. But the game's meant to be arcadey, fun, fast-paced, jump, build, shoot, and have a good time. While Pubg is meant to be tactical, which is why they have all the sights and everything, which can make it fun, but also be like a huge downfall, getting sniped from like 400 meters out. You're just like, really? I never even saw that dude, of course. But I like Fortnite a lot more than I like PUBG, but it's also on console, and I'm a console player, even though I have a nice fancy PC. It's something I prefer. So my initial impression is 6 out of 7.
6 out of 7. The awkward naming.
That was a weird
rating
rating
convention, right? And then Dismount, what was your initial impressions of Fortnite?
I definitely think it's a lot more fast-paced than PUBG. I'm just not a big fan of the whole King of the Hill style gameplay. I don't know. I feel like definitely like you said, it was more fast-paced, and I think one of the main reasons why I thought that was because it seems to me like the circles move faster in Fortnite than they do in PUBG. And
smaller.
With that though, like you have the whole building aspect to it, and I don't feel like there was like one match that we played where like another team had like this whole base like built up in the middle of the circle, and other than that, I mean, you can kind of fortify a house or something like that for about 30 seconds, and then the circle's moving again, and you got to move again. So, I mean, I feel like the base building aspect of it's fun, but at the same time, I don't feel like it gives you enough time to do anything with it. But the weapons, I mean, it was a more arcadey style game. I'm more of a tactical shooter kind of guy. So, I mean, if somebody said, hey, you can either play Fortnite or PUBG for the rest of your life, I'd probably go more towards PUBG. But, yeah, that's, I give it a 3 out of 6.
Oh man, 3 out of 6. Whoa, that's a little harsh, man. That's 50%.
Mathematically, that would be the same as 5 out of 10. You could have just said that, but whatever.
I mean, this is where
it
you
could be 50 out of 100, 25 out of 50, 7 out of 14.
I was sticking with the weird numbers.
You could stick with the 13th letter of the alphabet.
I give it a 3.5 out of 7
Yeah, 3.
I think we're
I get a 3
digressing
out of
slightly.
2 A's. But all right, on to the. I want to move on to like I guess of the overall. Even though both games are early access, I feel like Fortnite is a more fleshed out game, which is kind of surprising since PUBG has been out for a little bit, so I expected better optimization from PUBG, because when it looks bad, it looks really bad.
Looks definitely terrible.
It's not even
when the
worth
stun
playing.
grenades would crash your computer,
or like you get sniped from a distance, or you try to shoot someone and it just look like a line of pixels. I feel like yeah, the game relies, like with dismount set. All right, I'm hearing someone's echo. I don't know who it is, but yeah, there's a sense of strategy to it with the scoping, but I feel like they made it a little too extreme because yeah, they may rely on scoping, but you're not always going to find a 2 times, a 4 times, or an 8 times scope. Even if you I find it kind of rare just to find a 2 times scope, and you're kind of relying on a lot more close engages. But if you're far and that person has a scope, you're automatically at a disadvantage because the draw distance already doesn't help you, and the fact that you don't have a scope, which means you have even lower chance of actually hitting that target. So I feel like I like that aspect of Fortnite a little bit more, because the draw distance is better. Even though when you do get sniped, it's like ridiculously broken in Fortnite, where it pretty much just one shots you. And I do like the idea of having this shield potion, but it doesn't seem like it really does too much to give you an advantage unless you were in, I guess, low health and you had that extra buffer. But overall, I feel like Fortnite is still a better flesh out game. So I guess comparing the two, which one feels more fleshed out to you guys? This one's just open to everyone, so first come, first serve.
One thing is also that, as you said, that PUBG was released quite a bit before Battle Royale was. And actually, at one point when Epic Games released it, they mentioned PUBG, like that it was like PUBG. And then the guy, I forget his name, but the guy who's behind PUBG, he answered, and he was like not really happy because they were also trying to sell their game kind of off PUBG. And it's just kind of like, they're kind of seems like they're stealing PUBG's idea, but they kind of improved on it, so I'm not against it. Every good game will have someone who tries to rip it off a bit, and I think this rip-off might actually be slightly better. I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but that's just my personal opinion.
I think if you're not ripping someone off, you're not trying hard enough.
What?
That's my opinion.
But I mean,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Right?
But I mean, you could make the same argument in almost every style of game. There's always two copies. In MOBAs, like the big dogs, League of Legends and Dota 2. Dota came first, and there's a lot of debate that League of Legends ripped off Dota, but it feels like a completely different game. So to me, you can rip off an idea, like nothing's ever original. It's just, did you remix the idea different enough to make it your own idea? So to say that Fortnite ripped off PUBG, to me, is a little fair, but to me it feels like a completely different game in comparison to PUBG.
It does. It really does.
Dismount, you didn't give an opinion.
I feel like Fortnite's more fleshed out. Yeah, I feel like Fortnite's more fleshed out. And like Joe said earlier, like they have like weekly updates, whereas PUBG's monthly. And actually, I just read an article today that they had a patch today or yesterday, and it's the last patch before the game goes live. And all they really did in this patch was they fixed a couple quote unquote bugs, and they lowered the how often like certain guns spawn and in what locations. So I mean, for them to say, hey, we're done with this game, we're gonna go live with it, I don't feel like it's even ready to go live. And I feel like their kind of partnership with Microsoft has kind of pushed that, because Microsoft wants it on console and they don't really want it to go to console until it's done. So I feel like that aspect of it, I feel like Fortnite, like if it was to release like, hey, this is it, this is what we're doing, I feel like Fortnite would be a better game than PUBG.
They're going live with Playerunknown.
Yeah, this trying to go to console.
This update that just came out is the last one, and then the next version of PUBG is going to be version 1.0, and it will be an official release.
Come to console.
It's coming to Xbox. I think in December, maybe.
Let's be real here. It'll probably only be on Xbox. Because you know the whole thing with Xbox and Sony is Sony has something, Xbox wants something too. So like obviously now that Sony has Destiny and Microsoft has Halo that no one remembers, Sony has it was something. Xbox has Cuphead, and while Sony only had Undertale. So it's always a balancing act between the two, but overall Sony still has a better, to me, Sony still has the better end of a deal in comparison to Microsoft, just because no one wants an Xbox, to be real. So but PlayerUnknown still, this game now has an esport, and this is where I have a big issue with these type of companies. They have a great idea, they have a great game, and then they get lazy. They get really lazy because they have all this money. It's like, well, I have all this money now. Why do I really need to improve my game that much? If people are liking it as is, especially if the game's still early access, but you have an esport, you have all these Twitch streamers now made it essentially the most popular game on Twitch, and most likely the most popular game 2017, and it still looks like it's
game of the year.
I bet you it's gonna be game of the year, Joe. Don't say it, but I bet you it's gonna be game of the year unless Fortnite like completely somehow blows out of the water. But that's another aspect. Fortnite is going to be free to play. Obviously, free to play games has a level of grinding, but to me, free to play can be incorporated very well if you don't limit gameplay functionality by paywalls. You have an option to add functionality with paywalls, but you can still achieve that same functionality through grinding, and you don't make it feel like a super hard grind fest. So that's another topic I want to. Which game has better longevity? Which game is going to stay consistent for years to come, or which game is going to just be the fad of 2017 or the next 2 years?
Well, as you said, with PlayerUnknown's BattleGrounds, once they make a bunch of money, they get lazy. But since Fortnite is free and it's going to stay free, I feel like it'll also take longer for them to make money, so that they might not get as lazy as fast. Since it's free to play, they'll need to put more work into it to get more people, so they can actually make money. Unlike PlayerUnknown's BattleGrounds, where you have to pay like $60 to get the game in the first place, so that they can make a lot of money. So I think probably PUBG, just because of all the hype, but maybe they'll just both last just as long. I can see them still being a thing in like 5 years. I'm sure people will still be playing both of their games, and it'll still be a pretty big game. It'll have gone down a lot. I think a lot of people will be leaving those games. They'll get tired of them, and they'll be going back to the games they used to play, like CSGO and whatever they played before they started playing PUBG a lot.
All right. So the question was,
which
Power?
one? Which one
Are
has?
you even paying attention?
All right.
Joe never pays attention. Which one has longer longevity? Which game will last longer?
Thing is, like, with how much everyone says like H1Z1's dead now, I regularly check Steam charts because I have no life. That game still averages between 50,000 to 200,000 players on the weekend, and like daily it has like 30, 40, 50,000, which at its peak was pretty much, it maybe lost 20% of its actual player base. It's just not as big on Twitch anymore. Like, people think, oh, it's not number 5 on Twitch, the game's dead. You got to understand, we're a very small minority of people who watch streams, go to Reddit, or even play like certain games. So with Fortnite being free to play, that opens it up to a way broader audience, and I think it has a lot more staying power, especially since it's part of a AAA developer. And if you look at other games Epic's developed, they put a lot of work in and a lot more advertisement. As far as like PlayerUnknown's advertisement, it's Twitch. They only advertise through Twitch. I was watching out of open, before it became open access, it was advertising over PlayerUnknown's Twitch streams and over their YouTube channel. So right now, PlayerUnknown is very overhyped. Whether or not it'll die down depends on what viewers want to see. And right now, viewers want to see PlayerUnknown because that's where the big streamers are. If the big streamers were to go back to H1Z1, like if H1Z1 even went out and said, "Hey, play our game for $500 today," all those viewers would switch right back to H1Z1. I mean, it's who they watch. And right now, PlayerUnknown doesn't have a good marketing. While they are like Blue Hole Corp now in South Korea, I think Fortnite's going to stay and it'll gain traction. It's free to play, so you're going to get new people who don't have access to money to go play it, start their own channels, be like, oh, this is a cool game, and slowly grow.
I have 3 friends who couldn't afford PUBG, and I got them to play Fortnite with me, and they really enjoyed it.
I think you got to look at Fortnite too. Fortnite has a base game, and the battle royale is kind of like the side thing to it. So I feel like it has a better longevity because it has a whole nother game with it. So I mean, you don't have to have that game to play the free battle royale, but it also has that there. So people that have gotten that game are like, hey, you guys want to play some battle royale this weekend or whatever. So I feel like even if PUBG just has PUBG, whereas Fortnite has that other aspect to it too. So I think that'll kind of help them out in the long run.
I mean, Dismount, you bring up a very important point that I want to segue into next, is that Fortnite has another game mode where PUBG is just PUBG. And, you know, this style of games is relatively new. And I feel like at the current rate, people are going to get tired of it relatively quickly, because, you know, people are going to play the same map. Obviously, they're going to introduce their little crate system to make people a little feel like they're a little different, but instead they're all the same inside. And I feel like Fortnite has a better game plan than PUBG. Now, PUBG could change my mind if they incorporate something like you know, I want to see different maps. Everyone goes to an island, they drop in, and they kill each other. You know, maybe have a.
You just want to drop on you on a mountain or something, or in a giant hole.
I want to be jumped onto like a floating island in the sky, or, you know, have a smaller game mode.
Okay, so they announced actually that. Sorry.
Who announced?
They announced that they're going to be releasing in a new update. They're planning to have an update where you can have community maps and custom maps, and like have custom games. So that'll open up, and then with such the hype on PUBG, there will be tons of the community who will be making custom maps, and probably there will be maps that are floating in the sky, and it will add a lot of different options. You won't have to play the same map. There'll probably be like crazy custom game modes like car races and all that fun stuff. So that might also add a lot once they add custom maps. That'll be a lot of fun.
What game is that?
It's PUBG.
PUBG. So, I mean, to that point, I feel like if they don't do that, which they need to, but I also feel like they need to have something more official as well from their side. Like, I want something like Hunger Games style. You know, I want, you know,
Isles of the Nine. There's a bunch of battle royales coming out. That one's like 50 island, like first person with scoped weapons, close combat.
See, but I want something that's, you know, just not all about shooters as well. You know, each battle royale game that's come out, it's just been like exclusively shooters. But I want something like, not a survival thing, because that could take too long. But like, I've never played the calling. I just want something more Hunger Games style, where you have more of a, maybe in a more of an enclosed map, and not something as big as like the PUBG and Fortnite maps. But actually, Fortnite to me looks a little bit smaller than PUBG, but something a little bit more enclosed, a lot less people, but a lot more creativity on how to be like the winner, and obviously you have some sort of time limit. Otherwise, people are just gonna hide and survive for like hours on end. So I kind of want like a mix between a survival and a battle royale type of game.
A friend who I just introduced to the game said that one of the main differences that they found between PUBG and Fortnite Battle Royale was that Playerunknowns is all about just getting weapons and staying alive. And when Battle Royale, you don't have to just do that. One thing you can do is you can hit trees, you gather resources, and then you can build a base. You can build on top of high mountains to get good advantage points. And it's not all about battling. It's that there's also a interesting gathering resources and building process, which you can actually pretty much have different play styles. You could either build big bases, or you can just run around with your gun. And that's not something that PUBG has. It's basically only one option: get your gun and run around, which adds a lot more to Fortnite. You just have a lot more options of what you can do.
And that's even if you can freaking find a gun. Because you'll literally go a couple games without even finding. Yeah, just a bunch of crappy pistols that.
In what game?
Don't PUBG.
Yeah.
The rate drop for guns is pretty abysmal in my opinion. In comparison to Fortnite,
man.
I can always.
You gotta
I feel
go
like
for
I can always
And
find.
now they're lowering it.
Why they gotta lower it, man?
They're gonna lower it more.
Don't lower it. I don't understand. Like, make it. I feel like they're afraid to make it like too, I guess, unbalanced, and that's. I mean, yeah, you have to have some sort of balancing act, but to me, it's just going to get too long, and I'm gonna lose interest. Just like
Players
PUBG.
away soon. They'll start making their mistakes, and people won't like the adjustments, and then they'll blow up on YouTube. It's every early access game, every video game in general. They always make one adjustment that no one likes, and they're like, "Oh, but it's better for their game." And you're like, "Dude, this sucks. Why would you do that? Why would you nerf Roadhog?" Come on, man.
Oh, Joe, you're never gonna let Blizzard down. Let Blizzard let that go.
Never let
Blizzard.
anyone leave anything down. No. But all right, next question.
Well, the next question, Joe, is which game, if you had to choose between to only play Fortnite or only
Battle
play
Royale.
PUBG, well, Jeremy says Battle Royale. So for the rest of you two, which one would you pick?
One of those for the rest of my life.
Yes, you can play no other Battle Royale game.
The GameStop first.
You can't send it back to
You can't
GameStop.
take the
I'm sorry.
GameStop. Come on, man. I want that $5.
Sorry, no, they only give you $1 actually, but
Goodness me, man. The thing is, I really like PlayerUnknown's visuals a lot more. I like the setting, I like the scopes, I like the guns, but I don't like the pace of the gameplay. It's like
I like the
with
quality
Fortnite,
too.
I
Yeah.
like the really good. It's just like the colors, the brightness, and everything about it. It's just, it feels very cartoony to me, and it's like, oh, this is fun, but only if I was 10 years younger, it'd be a lot more fun. I mean, age has really nothing to do with it, but it just seems like, while as PlayerUnknown, the setting is pretty awesome, the levels are cool. So overall, I just wish if you could just add the color scheme to Fortnite, I'd play Fortnite PlayerUnknown BattleGround.
I'm gonna go with PUBG. Just
dismount.
like the tactical.
Leave this freaking Discord now. How dare you say that?
I just like
That's
the.
blasphemy.
Like I said, I'm more of a tactical shooter than an arcade shooter. So I like PUBG more in that aspect. I like. Fortnite reminds me a lot of the first time I played Overwatch. It's got that kind of, they said that PG violence, which is cool. But again, it's more fast paced and it's more arcade-ish, whereas PUBG is more of a tactical shooter, and that's just kind of games I like to play. So
They shrunk the PUBG's map down about 50%. I'd probably like it a lot more.
So I'm
Maybe
gonna
you
oh shit, I hit the mic. I'm gonna throw a curveball at everyone. I would actually pick neither. See, you guys didn't think that was an option. I would actually pick neither because
What?
get out of here.
it's a twist.
Get out of
Any
here.
of the options. How can you pick not from the options, though?
A, B. I will go with C, which is neither.
You're
And-
horrible at multiple choice. How did you pass school?
Yeah. He's like false.
It copied off of
hasn't
my
yet.
smartest
He
person's
hasn't
paper.
yet.
But shut up, Joe. You haven't passed school yet.
Passed lots of schools, just not official ones.
But for real, I'd actually go with neither because there's just too many aspects of the games that I don't like that wouldn't keep my attention. If you go on like a losing streak on either game, it's like really bad because PUBG would just take too long and you're losing. You could literally just in PUBG you can literally get away with just hiding somewhere if you were smart enough on planning on where the circle will actually enclose.
That was a big
And-
problem in the esports. People would just stack up on med kits, run and hide in the circle once their team's dead, and just tank and get as low as they possibly could.
Right. So
to the top 10.
there's no real forced strategy, and in Fortnite, I actually think it's a little for the size of a map, I feel like they need to decrease the number of players that land on the map. And here's my reasoning. It seems like almost anywhere you try to land on the map, there's like an 85% chance that there's going to be someone landing right next to you. So it always is luck based to me. It's too much luck based on either finding a house that has it or has an item to kill the other person, or getting to that item first. So I feel like they could, if they decrease the number of players that join a map, depending, I feel like that's one aspect they need. I would like to see in games is having different maps.
Playerunknown.
I said Fortnite, man.
No, but then you would just have a slow pace player. They designed the game how they want it to be played. I mean, I'm not like, oh, it's the way they want it, but that's the kind of pace that they want. And that's
I don't
what makes
mind it being fast paced. I just don't like it being too driven on luck. You know,
I would disagree with that. Don't think it has too much on luck. I mean, everybody will go to the main site, so the trick is you just have to pick one of the small buildings, and the chances are you will land alone. Otherwise, you just land, and then there's like that first kind of hectic moment where everybody's scrambling for a gun and hitting each other with pickaxes, and it's just kind of fun, that initial moment. And it's like either you'll have a chance at winning your next game as players, personally.
I know what you're saying, Morpheus. I've dropped into houses where it's had 2 shield potions, a pistol, and a fucking roof trap.
It's not even that. It's just like, to Jeremy's point, you know, obviously if you go for the big sites, you know, you're gonna throw down. But even on this, like, I try to go to a smaller site, and you know, let's say I played 10 games, and I've only went to smaller sites. I would say out of 7 of those games, I actually end up having someone land right next to me, and I don't know, and I would change, you know, all right, I'm gonna go to this way far out site, and there's someone there. Or I go to this site, and there's someone there. Like, it seems a little too luck based. But I mean, to Jeremy's point, obviously, if you go to the bigger sites, you're gonna throw down and be ready to throw down. And it is a lot more luck based. You better hope you've landed in the right spot to get a gun to kill everyone else that's around you. You better hope that gun is not a pistol, because you will die.
I also I think Fortnite is slightly easier than PUBG. Like, the best I've ever done in PUBG was like being alive, because once I was playing with a bunch of people and they carried me to first place, but I was dead the whole game. It was like 15th place, but playing Fortnite, I've just played under 10 games probably, and I got to 3rd by myself. So I mean, I feel like you just take less damage. The damage indicators are better. Like in PUBG, you kind of have trouble sometimes figuring out where you're getting hit from. When Fortnite, you can always exactly know where your people are coming at you from pretty easily. There's no like laying down in tall grass, because there is no going prone in Fortnite. So, I mean, it's no sneaking up and hiding as much, and I think it's actually a slightly easier game once you get past that initial burst of people landing. It's slightly easier to win, and well, everybody wants to win, so I think that might attract a lot of people too.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think we played, what did we play the other night, Joe? Like 3 games of it, and we won one of them.
3 in a row, 3 in a row. We always win a bunch of games in squads. Squads, I understand like Morpheus' perspective from squads. Like squads, it's really hard to get started without losing someone, which you don't want to do, because you're playing with a bunch of friends. All right, let's all drop here, and then you end up fighting like 15 people off, and you're like, one person's dead, another person's at 10 health, and you're like, well, that's fun. You guys want to quit out and pick this person back up? So we've found some pretty good loot places that don't have a lot of people, that people don't really know about, like the track. Track's amazing.
Joe, you just gave away our strategy. Now they all going to go to the track.
No, the northeast up above Wailing Woods, there's a bunch of loot places. A lot of people rush the big spots like Greasy Grove, Flush Factory. The prison's infamous. It's obnoxious why people, I don't even know why people even go there, but people do, probably because they like to go to prison. But beyond that, I know what you're saying. It can be luck, it can be whatever, but I like the pace of the game. I like its current state, but it might, depending on the community and if the developer listens to the players, which I hope they don't, because we tend to have the worst ideas in video
Terrible.
games. Time. You just go to the Reddit like, oh, this is terrible. Change it to
Oh,
this.
don't
and you end up
ever
with
go
this,
to
like,
Reddit for
half-baked
any type of ideas. The
arcade
conversations on
tactical
Reddit are so
shooter.
skewed. There's no point in really trying to have a
Reddit. Never listen to any YouTuber either. I hate it when they listen to YouTubers.
except
Stream
they have to
sniping.
listen
Oh
to
my
us.
God, man.
Here
I'm like,
at
give me
Epic
my
Games,
30
listen
bucks
to
back. I
us.
don't even know who those people are. Go on.
I would say though that one edge that PUBG has over Fortnite is the audio. In PUBG, I can always hear someone trying to sneak up on me. Well, at least inside the building, not out in the grass. There's someone always sneaking up. But it has better, let's say, an audio presence to where I can hear someone trying to come up the steps. So I'm like, oh crap, someone's come up the steps. You know, a lot more like with this amount said, strategic. But in Fortnite, I kind of feel like it's a little hit and miss. Like you can kind of hear it, but it's not as pronounced
They definitely have
as
issues with
PUBG.
their sound.
Yeah, they could probably would use a bit of work on the sound, but I mean, the low sound quality kind of fixed with the graphics quality. It's not like extreme high, and it just, I don't know.
And look at Titanfall. You can't even hear a giant walking robot behind you.
Joe, no, that's why no one cares about Titanfall because it's just
that
another
game, that just used to
EA
make me
gem
so
that
angry.
was good for 2 minutes and then no one cares about it anymore.
Later, and can't hear robots behind you simulator. God, that
Gotta
made
take
me
your
so
earplugs out.
I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm a human that can't hear a giant walking robot. All right, video games. Anyway, yeah, the sound. I think the sound is just really ping dependent and like server connection dependent on Fortnite. Because sometimes it's really good, other times it's just complete trash. You're like, oh, that's cool. Heard absolutely nothing. And other times you're like, oh, I hear I'm about to gun my teammate down. Like, stop walking.
Oh yeah, talk about gunning down your teammates. I want a better team indicator because you'd be surprised how many times I've killed my teammates because I didn't know they were my teammates because they walked around a corner and like the team indicator was above my screen and I just didn't see it and I just saw a random person. Like that would be better.
That's also just one thing. Why is there team kill on Fortnite?
So that
and
mistakes
PUBG?
can be made. Mistakes can be made. It's like I think they're going for a slightly realistic life, and in real life, if you shoot your friend in the back of the head, it's not gonna be like I'm your friend, so you can't cause damage to me, right?
I think every game should have team damage, especially Overwatch. Overwatch needs super team, like 200% damage.
And then it
So
just
we're-
keeps you go
we're
from
not
being
here about
idiots.
Overwatch. I know you want to rant about it so hard.
Yeah,
We'll have a
all over the-
dedicated episode for you. But
On a side note,
talk about
from that, there's a new game. It's not really it's kind of a battle royale, but it doesn't have like the shrinking circles. Like it's kind of like an open world battle royale where you can kind of do whatever you want. You can loot and whatever. It's called Escape from Tarkov.
Huh.
That game does not have. It has friendly fire. The damage is like really realistic. Like a couple of shots from an assault rifle and you're down. If you get shot in the leg, it'll break your leg and it slows your movement. And if you don't actually patch it up, you'll bleed out slowly. And even if you do patch it up, like you're still hurt, so you have to take like morphine and stuff, or otherwise your like screen will start blurring. Anyhow,
this
on
game's
the
trying
whole
to get me
subject of-
high. That's what it sounds like.
dude,
This amount.
this game is pretty awesome. But on the whole subject of team killing, it doesn't even have team indicators. You just have to communicate with your teammates. So if you're in there playing with 4 people, you don't know that they're on your team, and you could shoot them because they're running across the field, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? So yeah,
I mean,
Does
it's
it have,
kind of
like-
like Rust.
next
Yeah.
level of
I don't know what Rust is.
It's
It's-
a survival.
It's a very, very fun game. Yeah, so, yeah, in Rust, basically, there are no team indicators. You just have to communicate. You have to be like, jump now if it's you. And, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It makes you be a bit more cautious, and it helps you just have teammates harder. I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But also there's a few cool instances where people have infiltrated teams because it's not obvious. Like since they don't have team indicators, you could like just put on the same colored shirt and they just accept you as one of their own.
I feel like you would need to keep a small tribe for that. But we're getting a little bit off track. So we're going to move on to
Yes, sorry.
final thoughts. No, that's no problem. Final thoughts. The last question I'll ask is, what would you want these games to improve on, and what would you like to see the games improve on, like added, and what would you like to see the games remove to make the gameplay more, to make it better, essentially? So what would you like added, and what would you like removed from the games? Start with you, Jeremy.
Okay, so maybe vehicles in Fortnite. I know it's a small maps, maybe not yet, but maybe if they add bigger maps in the future, vehicles would be cool just to get around faster. Just vehicles are cool. Everybody loves vehicles. And for PUBG, more maps. I know they're hoping to get custom maps soon. That'll be a sweet update. Work out some kinks with the weapons, having them just kind of being messed up and not making sense. And other than that, I think they're both great games that deserve some of the hype. Maybe not all the hype they're getting, but they are very new, interesting games, and I personally enjoy playing both of them. That's it.
All right, Joe. What would you like added to both of these games to make them better, and what would you like to see removed from these games?
So, since I have the floor, we're gonna listen to me. Let's start.
Oh,
with
Joe,
Fortnite.
looks like we're out of time there. See you guys on the next.
Fortnite. Let's start with Fortnite. Here are these. For the love of God, the scar is broken, and everyone knows it. They just don't want to acknowledge it because they go on 10 kill streaks with it, and they're like, "Oh, this gun's awesome," and then they get gunned down like, "This gun's broken." Weapon rarities. Just, I mean, they listen to the community. Like Epic says, they're like trying different things. They don't want people sniping each other from a distance. That's why there's the random RNG spread. And people are like, "Oh, we don't want that. I'm tired of missing first bullet. We need just have damage drop off." And they're like, we don't know about that. So gun rarities, just for the love of God, just get rid of them. I hate it. There should be no 3 classes of the same AR rifle. Like, just stop. What else? Vehicles. They can add vehicles. I just want the vehicles to be used as battering rams. I want to crash into someone's wooden house, throw a bunch of grenades. Yes. I haven't played since one of the updates. I think like 2 weeks ago because I've been playing Paragon, but I guess they added it to where it takes 2 rockets to destroy a steel fortress, so it like adds some sort of strategy, which sounds really cool, but sounds really like dumb at the same time. Because then it's not like steel's hard to come by. Like none of the are hard to come by. So making steel stronger than anything else, yeah, it is steel, and it does make a bit more sense. But at the same time, it's not like a rare item. You can just go farm a bunch of cars like anywhere, all over the map. So it doesn't make a lot of sense why they do that. I know why they did, but I'd like to see. I need to try it out and see what I think of it, because towards like the top 10 in solos or duos, you'll have some teams who just ran to the center of the circle, which a lot of people do, and just build super forts. So you're just going to be sitting there staring at some dude in a steel building and hoping the circle's in your favor. Stop running away from me. That would be awesome.
One thing is, those buildings are pretty easy to destruct almost no matter what you build. Like, I've taken down sheet metal buildings with just like 5 or 6 bullets. So, I mean,
our new update.
Just like a couple days ago. Like, even then, it doesn't take too much. I think they mainly want buildings to be temporary cover and for building up to places. It doesn't seem like they're going for like full unbreakable fortress.
As long as they don't keep adding health to it, I would be excited.
Well, they definitely don't.
Because I know a lot of people run the same strategy: build a wall, build stairs up, wait, next spot, build a wall, build stairs, next spot, build a wall, build stairs.
Well, hopefully they'll like nerf that to either A, it takes longer to build, or a little less health. If they see too many people are just hiding in these fortresses they're making, then obviously they're going to make it even easier to destroy, to pretty much to the point that it's no point in actually building a structure. But I want to get to Dismount's final thoughts on Dismount. What would you like to see added to these games, and what would you like to see removed from these games?
I would like to see the King of the Hill style gameplay removed from all these games.
So you just want the games gone.
Yeah. No, I think like I like the King of the Hill style game to a certain point, but I don't think the circle is really the way to go. Like I feel like there should be something else. Like there should be like a nuke that somebody picks up, and you have to be in control of the nuke at the end of the timer. And if you're in control of the nuke at the end of the timer, then you win, and that would kind of still draw people to a certain location.
Oddball from like Halo 2000.
Yeah, kind of something like that, or like what was that Man with the Golden Gun and GoldenEye, that type of thing, and or even have something to where like if you control the flag or whatever for a certain period of time, like if you have it the most time at the end of the timer, then you win or something. But
it's like CS:GO with the bombs.
I've never played CS:GO. So
well, there's like like terrorists versus counter-terrorists, and then terrorists are trying to plant a bomb to destroy everything, and counter-terrorists have to stop them. So it seems like you're looking for something along that style because I mean, everyone has a gun, but certain rounds you all start off with pistols, and then you win, you get money, and so on and so forth. It progresses. So it sounds like you want something along that style, but on a bigger scale, where maybe you're playing with two teams, and one team controls a nuke or whatever, or releases a gas, and the other team has to stop them. So it seems like it's in between Rainbow Six Siege and CS:GO.
Don't ever talk about that trash game again.
Okay, but what you're suggesting would literally change the whole game to something completely different. So
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
this round just doesn't want these two games. He just wants something
realistically,
completely different.
none of that is ever gonna happen.
I mean,
because they like the games the way they are.
I think some different game modes would be nice, maybe.
I want first person
added game modes.
I don't want first person. It's not fun in first person to me.
Yeah.
Well, just an option for people who like first person, because I know some people really like it.
Well, PUBG has that option. You can play
that option.
No. First
Remove
person,
it. Remove all first person. I'm joking.
All right, so here's my final thoughts. What I like to see, I would say, added to, I guess I'll just say Fortnite, is I don't know if you actually can. I haven't tried it, but aiming down sights. Instead of shooting in third person, having that option, not exclusively Fortnite. I know you can do it in PUBG, but I don't know if you can do it in Fortnite.
Not iron sights, just when it has a scope.
See, I want to be able to aim down iron sights because I just like having that accuracy. But I guess it's okay as it is now, but I like to see in a later edition to have that option to aim down sights, iron sights, like you can do in almost any other game that's not of a division. But even in PUBG, I would just like add more freaking assault rifles. Dang it! And then if I want to remove something, remove all the guns that are not useful. Remove all the stupid pistols. Remove all the crossbows. No one's going to use the darn crossbow, so why even have it in your game? If I see someone with a crossbow, I'm gonna just flip and punch them to death because they're never going to hit me with it. And by the time they reload, I've already hit them with like 8 punches. So I want to see that removed, as well as to either shrink the map or make the initial stages of the gas or blue field, whatever, to be a little bit slower, and then speed it up as the game progresses. This will allow people to, at least in the beginning, to get more stuff if they got like a crappy drop, as well as it accelerates the game later on to force people to clamp up, take each other out. How an actual battle royale is. And I agree with Joe, and this is what I remove is the weapon rarity. I find that practically pointless. It doesn't make sense to have it in there. I feel like it just needs to be removed. There's no point in having it. It doesn't add a level of gameplay, especially since it's random. It's not like there's specific places that drop certain weapons. It's completely random. Just remove it. Not necessary. I don't like it. It's fake news. So build a wall and let's get that out of there. Send them back to where they came from. Get them out of here. People like that, weapons like that, we sent on a stretcher back in the day. So that's my thoughts on it. So fortunately, we are out of time, gentlemen. I want to thank my honored guest, Jeremy from InfoGamers. I have a link to their YouTube channel as well as their website down below.
I like being an honored guest.
So
Feel special.
So make sure you guys subscribe, and also make sure you subscribe to my channel for more Beyond the Pixel, more game reviews, more everything. And of course, I want to thank my co-host, Joe, who pays attention half the time because he's too busy playing with his dog. And I want to thank my beautiful and awesome guest, Dismount, for also being beautiful and awesome. And
Hey,
we will
Dismount,
see.
are you actually beautiful?
It's debatable. My mom says yes, everybody else says no. So
Do you want to hang out?
let's do it.
So we will see you guys in the next Beyond the Pixel. Peace.